Character-based is the one I'm going to focus on the longest because it's the most difficult and it seems to be the one that people are most interested in. So character-based is just using a character that you like. For example, that's Link over there from Zelda, and trying to use Lolita items to match their outfit enough to look like that character, but not necessarily look like you're trying to cosplay that character. It's kind of difficult to explain. There's a really fine balance between looking like cosplay and looking like Lolita in these outfits, and like, you know, you can look like cosplay if you want, but that is not what we were trying to do. And themed accessories are really important for this because they really help to pinpoint a character. For Link, I used a little heart bracelet to match the little heart containers, and that's a fairy bottle necklace down there, and a little sword ring. I like that sword ring, it's pretty cool. For this, items can be pretty much anything. You can have stuff from thrift stores, have stuff that's handmade, have stuff that's brand. Wherever you find what you're looking for is the important thing. But it's important to make sure that these pieces, for the most part, will function by themselves outside of an outfit. I'm going to stand up real quick for an example. And try and shout. Can you guys hear me okay in the back? So this skirt I made specifically for this outfit, but on its own I could wear it with other things. And that's, what I'm trying to get across is that the easiest way to make sure that your outfit's not going to look like a crazy costume is by making sure each individual piece would probably work outside of Lolita. There are a lot of exceptions to this though, is that accessories can be really big exceptions to this. If you have kind of a silly accessory to emphasize who you are, then that's not really a big deal. And also just, if a singular piece looks a little weird, that's not a huge deal. This blouse is really orange. really, really orange. But because it's mostly covered up and because it still has like lace detailing and a high collar, it's still pretty acceptable. It's not something I would wear with another Lolita outfit, but it works in the coordinate itself. Okay, so this is going to be a step-by-step example of how exactly to do this. It's not a super complicated process, but it is a little difficult when you first start out doing it. I started making polymorph sets like this a while ago, and it was a bit of a learning curve because it's hard to know how exactly to look at shapes of things and try and like really not Lolita things, and try and convert it to something that would be Lolita appropriate. But it is totally possible. So that's a Sora set I did a while ago from Kingdom Hearts. And when you choose a character, it can be pretty much anyone, but it's important to keep in mind that some are going to be a lot more difficult than others. I've done this quite a bit with dudes, with giant dudes, with dudes who are green. So it's totally... That was a little scary. It's totally... Something totally just hit that wall, for those who cannot see that. That was a little scary. It's totally possible with, like, weird things, but when you're just starting out, it would be a lot easier with something stereotypically cutesy or something that's going to convert itself a lot easier. So here's my first example, something easy to do. This is Kiki from Kiki's Delivery Service. Her outfit's pretty plain. It's just black and red, which are easy colors to find in Lolita fashion. For this example, I'm mostly going to be using brand things, mostly because I had the internet and it was easy to find. Obviously, you can pull things from your own closet or make things that you think would fit well. When I first started trying to pull dresses, I initially thought of that's Alice in the Pirates' Black Cat, Witch in the Apple Tree, I think is the full name. It's huge. But I thought of that print in particular because it has witches on it. But it seemed a little too formal for Kiki. She wears a very, very casual outfit because she's like running around on a broom and like doing things with a cat. And then I pulled a couple of different ones. The one on the bottom left is for Angelic Pretty, and it's just kind of a sack dress. They happen every so often in Lolita, but I thought to really emphasize that this was Lolita, but still look like Kiki, it would be better to choose something a little bit more fitted. The one on The right is also, bottom right is also Angelic Pretty. But it's velvet, and that doesn't seem super reasonable. She lives in a town by the sea, so obviously it's going to be at least fairly temperate, if not warm all the time. So that didn't seem like a great option, but it looked really cute. And the top right is a baby Starshine braid dress. It's a, they call it a cut-sew dress. It's basically a knit material. But I thought about that, and it would be comfortable, but again, it's not something that's standardly seen in Lolita all the time, and I really wanted to focus on things that were pretty standard. So this is the dress I chose. It's from Innocent World. It's simple, but it's pretty, and it has short sleeves like her dress. It's black, obviously, and it's still got little Lolita details that really make it clearly Lolita. There's some lace around the top and little poofy sleeves, and there's a really lovely lace overlay on the skirt. And then for accessories, I have a lot of options because their accessories are really simple. It's just a big red bow and some little red shoes. So I went with flats for the shoes because, you know, well, first of all, she's wearing flats, and also, like, it's not reasonable for her to run around in, like, giant heels, and it would look strange because she is so young, and because it's not, like, you know, she does a lot of stuff. She's very active. So the top ones are from Bodyline, and the bottom ones are from Angelic Pretty. They're tea party shoes. And then the two bows are both from Angelic Pretty. I was trying to figure out which size bow I wanted exactly, because her bow is pretty large, but like the bottom head-eating bow seems a little much. But the top one I thought was cute because it was still big, but it wasn't quite as big, and I like it on an angle. I don't know, I just like it on an angle better. I think it's cute. And then I pulled some different other things to use, some accessories and stuff. I grabbed the red bag from Angelic Pretty because I thought it looked like her little radio. I like the idea of having something little and on a strap to match the little radio. Because their actual bag that's like kind of behind her in that picture is like giant and kind of ugly and orange and not very cute. So it wouldn't work as well. That also ties in some more red to the outfit, because right now it's just black dress, red shoes, red bow, and it's nice to have something kind of in between to tie in that color. That broom catch necklace is from that same line that I mentioned previously, Black Cat, Witch, and the Apple Tree from Alice and the Pirates. And I thought that would be cute because it looks just like Gigi. So, it's another way to reference that particular character without being like over the top. The socks I just pulled because they match both things. I wasn't like really concerned about if the socks particularly evoked Kiki, but I wanted to see that they pulled in both the red and the black to match. And a lot of the black and red socks that I've had previously were kind of like classic, well not classic, but like more gothic looking. And I wanted to make sure that it was still cutesy because she's young and she's cute, so that seemed to make more sense. That's just a little heart ring. I think I pulled it from Forever 21. It's nothing crazy. I just thought that a little more accessorizing would look nice. And the wig is from Gothic Lolita Wigs. He's just got a little short bob, but the curls really help to pull in. So I'm just totally wearing that wig right now, actually, in a lighter color, I think. But I thought the curls would really help to pull the outfit in and still look like her. So here's the outfit all together. I think it still looks like her, and it was fairly easy to put together because the shapes are so simple, and the colors are so like standard. It's not hard to find, but it still really evokes the character. Okay, so here's my difficult example. I pondered for a while thinking of what to do for this, and I ended up from One Piece. So I thought for a while about what to do. I was considering doing some sort of like giant dude with armor and stuff, and I was like, that really won't get my point across. It's just going to be more work for me and not look good. So Chopper's kind of a silly choice. Like it's not the first person I'd choose to be like, yeah, that looks Lolita. He doesn't even wear a shirt. He's a small reindeer. It's very weird. But his colors, to me, when I first saw him, the tans and the burgundies looked very much like classic Lolita to me. So I was like, you know what, Chopper's going to turn out super classy. And initially, when I first started doing this, I would not have thought about that, but I've been working on, I'm doing all 150 Pokemon. And I've done a couple that I've been like, this Pokemon's gonna be the ugliest Lolita ever. And then when you like look at the colors individually, it all comes together and looks really nice. So looking at Chopper, I was like, I can totally do that. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how I pull the shapes that I do from a more complex, less easy character. So Chopper's got this top hat that he wears most of the time. And I thought about doing, you know, obviously a red hat of some sort. A lot of classic brands make kind of a range of hats. They make top hats, they make boater hats, they make some stuff in between. And so I thought about that. I thought about mixing the horns. I thought it would be a little too silly. You probably could for an event. It wouldn't be bad. I've seen reindeer antlers, or like deer antlers once or twice with the coordinate, but because this is themed in the first place, it seemed a little much. Because he is shirtless, but he is tan, I thought I should go with a long sleeve blouse in some sort of tan-ish color, and he's got his little cape on, so some sort of pink cape to match. His pants are burgundy, so that's pretty easy, some sort of burgundy skirt. And then his feet are a little weirder because he's got hooves. But I thought that, you know, some sort of tan legwear and some black or charcoal gray shoes would work well. So I'm going to do this for a couple more characters just to show you how this works. Yeah, Wally's a little weird. He was actually the first thing I thought of, but then I had a lot of trouble finding a gray blouse that would look right. So Wally's kind of weird and definitely a fox, but he's got, you know, his little droopy eyes, and they're kind of a white color in the background, so I thought a little droopy kind of white bow would work for his head. There's a lot of gray detailing in his front panel, in the lines around the top of him, I don't know what to call that, and his little hands. So I thought a gray blouse in long sleeve or short sleeve really would work well to pull in those colors without having like weird gray detailing on a yellow dress that might look a little stranger. And then some sort of dress, either a JSK, which is a jumper skirt which has no sleeves, or an OP, which is a dress that has sleeves. In yellow would work, obviously, because most of him is yellow. And then brown or black or gray legwear of some sort. So I would probably go with gray tights and black or brown shoes, because that would pull in the gray down farther a little bit, so the blouse wouldn't look so random. Yeah, that's I was trying to think of like the weirdest things I could do. I was like, I want to make sure that they learn that everything can do this. So that's Lino. I wouldn't really recommend doing something this crazy because he is like light orange. But you know, a red wig or some sort of giant red head-eating bow would work to do red things on top. He's orange, so an orange blouse. He's even got little like jumper straps on his leotard. Some sort of blue or periwinkle dress, and orange tights to match the blouse, of course, and then some blue boots to match. So like this sort of thing is a little ridiculous, and I don't know how well it would actually work in real life, but I just wanted to show you different ways to like pull shapes or just different styles from weird things to emphasize that it's possible with a lot of things. So here's my process with Chopper. I had a terrible time finding a tan blouse, and then I remembered that brands use this weird term called milk tea, which is essentially tan. And I pulled this one from Innocent World because I like the high collar because he's all tan. I would probably take off the neck though I think that might be a little much with the cape, which I also found from Innocent World. I liked that it was a little bit more muted pink. I didn't want like bright baby pink. And it's got some really nice lace detailing to it, so I thought that would work well. For skirts, I pulled a couple. I initially thought of really classic skirts because, you know, his pants don't even have anything on them. They're like a square almost. So I wanted to go with something fairly simple. I pulled the top one from Innocent World, the middle one from Mary Magdalene, and then I saw the bottom one from Metamorphosis, and I really liked the color, but it seemed a little too frou-frou. And then I looked for hats, and I actually found some pretty good hats. I was kind of impressed with how many burgundy hats I could find. I decided to forego forgo the top hat because I thought the top hat might be a little much with this strange of a character. But I did find some slightly taller voter-style hats in a couple of different burgundy colorways. The top one is from Victorian Maiden, and the bottom one is from Instant World. And then I actually found a chopper necklace. I thought it would be cute, especially when a character is kind of strange, to actually pull the character itself into the outfit if you have that possibility in jewelry or in a bag or a keychain that you can put on a bag or something. It's a pretty simple necklace, which I liked, and it's gold toned, which goes well with the rest of the colors. And I don't think it would look terribly out of place. I'd probably put it on a different cord or like put it on a chain. But that would help pull in the actual character into your outfit to emphasize what you were trying to do. I just grabbed some wooden-soled shoes from Angelic Pretty that were black because I liked that it pulled the tan down a little bit further. And then those are just some random tan types I found on the internet. I don't even remember where I found those. But they match the milk tea color pretty well. So that's Chopper all together. And it's not something that, at first glance, you would recognize as a character, but side by side, they do look pretty similar, and Chopper did turn out super classy, which is nice. So it's really possible to do this with anything. It's not necessarily something that I'd recommend. If they turn out as well as this, go for it. But it's important to keep in mind the color palette especially makes things difficult. Brighter colors, crazier colors, makes things a lot harder, whereas things that are toned down or muted like this, or things that are already pastel, make things a lot easier. So here's a couple of examples for inspiration of how this works. This first one is from Lolita Tips on Tumblr. Love them. I love all of the polymer sets they do. These are specifically Disney villains. I tried to pull some of the weird ones, so they're all guys. She did do like a full set of like a bunch of them. But that's Captain Hook, Frollo from Hunchback of Notre Dame, Gaston, and Dr. Fusilier. I particularly like Gaston's because that's just, it looks like him, it's just really ruffly him. And Frollo, I love the use of old school kind of nun-looking Lolita for a very religious character. So you can see that all of these pieces kind of pull in shapes and colors especially. Dr. Fusilier has that awesome skirt that you can't quite see the color of here, but it's kind of a dark burgundy and black. And the earrings really emphasize the New Witch Doctor sort of vibe. Gaston has an excellent dress that has a similar low neckline to his tunic? I don't even know what that is. It looks like a polo shirt. A really long, funny-looking polo shirt. I'm going to call it a tunic because funny-looking polo shirt takes too long to say. But it's a very similar color. It's still got the gold detailing on the buttons, but, you know, it doesn't look as silly. And it still pulls in the gloves, which are really important, but not in that bright orangey yellow. And Captain Hook has that excellent vest thing that he would totally wear, and a big ascot-y jacket thing that definitely looks like his character, but not quite. These are some of my Pokemon. They're posted on FB on Nerdy Lolitas. I also have a Polyvore account that's Meiki, meiki.polyvore.com, I believe is the address, that has all of them in a little set somewhere. I just pulled some of my favorites. I've only gotten through, I think my last one was Sand/Sandshrew, were the ones that I finished. So these are a couple of my favorites. Caterpie was really fun because the colors are already pretty pastel, so I could pull them in from, you know, generic Sweet Lolita brand sort of places. And it's a color combination that you don't see often in Lolita, but it still looks really cute together. I was particularly surprised by Spearow because he turned out so classy. I've never been that big of a fan of Spearow, and I was like, okay, I'll do Spearow, and I put it all together, and I was like, wow, Spearow, fabulous. Again, it's the muted colors that are really easy to find. I love those boots. I don't remember where they're from, but the tan color pulled in at the head and in the feet really brings the outfit into a more muted, classical idea. And with him especially, I tried to find bird accessories. For most of the bird Pokemon, I've been finding bird accessories. I'm kind of running out of bird accessories. But there's the ring has a little bird on it, and the earrings look like feathers. Rattata turned out adorable, surprisingly, for how annoying Rattatas are. I pulled in mouse accessories for that because I thought it would be suitable, and there's plenty of lavender these days in Sweet Lolita, so it was actually pretty easy to put Rattata together. And then Pikachu, I was very excited to do because, everybody loves Pikachu. And what I did was I pulled in smaller red accessories for his little cheeks. Just to make the outfit a little more interesting and evoke more of Pikachu. If I put that outfit together in real life, I'd probably use something that actually had Pikachu on it, or like have a Pikachu bag or plush with me if I went to a convention wearing it, just to emphasize what I was doing. The bows are for some sort of pigtails to emphasize the two big ears, and then everything else is just yellow everywhere. So here's an actual example. I am wearing some Thor Lolita on the far left. I put it together for the Avengers. I'd seen a couple designs around Tumblr, and I was like, I could probably pull this together in my closet. So I made a little head bow. It's got little wings that I made on the side. They're not super noticeable or anything, but up close I tried to make it look a little bit like his helmet. But it's really big because I want it to be like, this is covering my head. And then I used a red cardigan instead of his cape. I put I have a button maker, like a big button maker. So I just made some blank buttons, so they're silver, and I just attached them to my JSK. He's got these big round circular patterns on his armor, and I wanted to pull that in. I have a hammer. That pretty much emphasizes the character. And then I have some gray sparkly tights and some rocking horse shoes to kind of pull the colors down further to kind of make everything look cohesive. Hildy in the middle is wearing a fourth Doctor from Doctor Who's Coordinate. It's pretty obvious who she is if you're familiar with the show because the accessories are so important to that particular Doctor. She's got this giant scarf. It's like 2 stories long, the original one was. And the hat looks very much like his. And she has his sonic screwdriver too. So that really pulls it in. But her skirt, I believe, is also some sort of space type print, which can add to the character. And part of my bloomers sent me another one that's a Captain America. It's so cute. If she wore that without the little shield on it, it would look just kind of like a patriotic 4th of July style Lolita. But with the little shield, it really emphasizes who she's trying to be, and the trim that's red, white, and blue is really, really cute and helps to emphasize the character. So that's about it. These are my 2 websites. The top one is my Nerdy Lolita Tumblr, which I post both the polymorph sets I do, including the Pokemon stuff, and also tons of Nerdy Lolita stuff from all over. People can send me submissions if they want. The bottom is just my personal blog. I post all of my Nerdy Lolita coordinates there.